Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I'm here with my primary colors. So I did an intuitive painting that has been uploaded and it was a bit larger. But what I wanted to do today is get out my art journal, the primary colors again. So today I'm working with phthalo blue, quinacridone rose, and lemon yellow. And I also have some titanium white. And I'm going to do a similar type of painting that I did before, but just see where it takes me today. I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit on this. So I've got my area where I'll be mixing over here. I'm going to put out a couple of little blobs of white. My tube's kind of running out. And I'm going to put out a little bit of each color also, so you'll be able to see what I mix. So I was kind of having some fun playing with different color blends, and on this one it just came out, I don't know, I loved it, and I was able to do a bunch of patterns over the top and stuff. But when I first was working on it, it was this way, but after I was done I turned it this way. And I love how it almost looks like water and maybe some landscape background. So I wanted to continue with this, but be a little bit more intentional on kind of like a nice, fun, whimsical landscape. So we'll kind of see what we can do here. And I think I'm going to start off with the blues and greens like I did before. And let me grab a little palette knife. I've also got a baby wipe here on hand because, boy, I use those a lot. So I think I'm going to start off with some nice blues. But real quick, I'm just going to do a quick sketch in and then maybe have some sort of lumps there for some kind of, you know what, maybe I'll do kind of like almost trees. And then fill this in. And this is just a very, loose kind of sketch. Now this is almost to the halfway point on my page, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit lower. And then maybe have some things kind of going on in the background. Okay. So that just gives me a little bit of a roadmap. So I'm going to grab a really good bit of white because I want to be starting off very light. So I'm going to grab some white here and a really tiny bit of blue. It's a strong blue, phthalo blue, and it already has it tinted, and I basically just dipped the very corner of my palette knife in it. So I'm just going to mix this up on my plate. If you have a blue that you like to use, go for it. And you might want to add some white just so that it gets to be nice and bright, almost pastel. And acrylic paint will dry a little bit darker than what you mix. So just keep that in mind too. I'm not really diluting the paint. I'm just kind of going in with what I've got on my brush and what I'm mixing so we can get a nice coat. And I'm just going to fill in this first shape that I did. I might even come in a little bit on that side. And any of my pencil lines are going to be changeable. It's really just there to give me sort of a rough idea of how I want my overall page to look. And I know, like, for a lot of the intuitive type paintings I've done, I've just sort of started off with a bunch of mark making and was very free and flowy, and you can absolutely do that too. I just want to see what I get when I'm adding a little bit of extra structure. Now I'm going to take what I've got here, I'm going to add some more white, a tiny bit more blue, and I'm going to go up to that sky area. So I'm going to get myself a nice brush load and just start punching in some color. Now I'm using my Filbert. This is my favorite brush, but it's probably not the best choice for such large blocks of color, but I do like using it, so I'm just going to keep up. And like I said, my pencil lines are really just suggestions, and the final painting will end up being probably a bit different than what you can even see right now. So I'm going to keep the blue on that's on my brush, add some more white to my little pile here, another touch of blue, and a bit of yellow. And this is going to make a nice vibrant green. Now, if you have ultramarine blue, it's got a little bit of a red cast to it. So your greens will be a little bit more muted with that than what I've got going on right here, but it's also a really beautiful color. It's just going to be a little bit of different mood, I guess you could say. But I kind of like these sort of bright pastels, and I am ready for spring. Now these are all pretty much the same value, and I like that. So what I might do is add a little bit of that same green here, and maybe a little bit up here. And we're going to fill in these shapes kind of slowly. Maybe coming down the side here. Then I'm going to get just enough, and I mean just a touch. You can see what's on my brush. It's not very much. And I'm just doing a very little bit at a time. And I'm just going to mix it into my existing little pile here and just go little by little until I get a bit of a different color. And then I'm going to come in here right next to where I had my shape and add a little bit more. And maybe on my little tree, I add some. And my main objective is to just make sure that my colors that are going next to each other have a bit of a difference. And what I might do is down here, put a little bit of green, this darker green. Just like that. Have a bit of a bottom here. Now I'm going to get even a little bit more blue, maybe a little bit more white, a little bit more yellow. I love these colors. They're just really pretty. Maybe right along the side of this tree. And have another little shape coming out there. And then maybe the top of this little hill, we can add some more blue, maybe a little bit more yellow, make a bit of a darker green. And it's going to add just some more contrast. But we're still staying in kind of that same mix. So we're getting just some different layers here. And it's kind of starting our little abstract landscape journey. All right, I'm going to add some more yellow. We're kind of getting into some nice brightness. And I'm just kind of putting it in. I'm not even really thinking about shadows and highlights or any of that. Really, what I want is just texture and variation in color. Now let's go pretty dark here. Still want to keep it green, but just nice and rich. I'm going to come right down here. Maybe even add a little bit more blue. And then kind of have that be a bit of a divider here. And add some color in around here. And I'm still trying to keep my lines mostly crisp and have some real division here. And then I'm going to finish this off. Now I'm going to take this dark blue and I'm going to put in a couple little trunks. And maybe just a few little lines here. Now I've rinsed my brush a bit. I'm going to go straight into this yellow and add a few little pops. And it's going to mix with some of this green, but I'm kind of going over the tops where we might have some sunlight or something like that. And it's just going to add a little pop of some fun color. And you know what? I might even put a little bit on top of this sort of grassy area too. Yeah. And I might add a little bit of white. And come in here with a bit of a glaze. All right, I'm going to let this dry a bit and then come back for some more. All right, it's been a few minutes. It's not completely dry, but it's looking pretty good so far. I cleaned up my palette a bit, and I'm going to start again with another little blue mix with some white. And I'm going to start adding in some texture to this water. And also the sky. I'm going to cut in kind of close to where I have my little trees and things, but I'm going to kind of do some sort of swirly, sort of cloud shapes and just add some texture to that sky. And I'm just going to grab white and blue as needed, and it'll be a little bit of a different mix each time, but that will add some different values to this. And I can even go right into coats that were underneath and kind of add a little bit of different variation. So I'm going to grab some more white, some more blue. This looks a little bit darker. I can come right in next to this and add in like a second layer. Same here. I love how kind of fun this looks. And add a little bit more blue, a little bit more white, even darker. Maybe I can come right up along some of that shoreline. And I want to vary my shape sizes a bit. So just want to, maybe we just have a little bit of a puffy thing there. A little bit of a puff over here and maybe right here. Just like that. Now what I might also do is grab some white and a little bit of yellow and add in a little bit of a sort of golden horizon. And then right here, I'll kind of pump up that yellow a bit. Now I've blotted my brush because I want to keep this pretty soft, and I've got some sort of residual water that's kind of sitting on here, and I don't really want that. So I will leave that as is. Then I'm going to go straight into this blue and add some of my darkest. Just like that. And then I might even come in along here and do a little bit of a shadowy area there. And then underneath a few of these clouds. Now I'm going to start adding in a little bit of this magenta. We're going to get a nice sort of dark purple. And we can have a little bit of red in here. Kind of come down next to our tree trunk areas. Okay, now while my journal page is drying, I actually have this leftover sheet. It's slightly toned, kind of like a very pale blue-green. And I've got this paint here, and I'm going to let my journal page dry. But what I want to do is get some paint on here and use up what I've got left over on my palette. I did my page a little bit differently than I originally thought I would. So I've got plenty of red here, plenty of yellow, and so I'm going to paint this second page with leftovers. So I'm going to grab this and we're going to go for a fun pink. And I'm going to put it over that blue background. And I'm just going to have fun and go nuts with some painting and shapes here. Going to be somewhat similar where I'm going to kind of block in some different shapes. but I'm not going to be careful. And this is really just getting some paint on the paper. I love this purple color. I'm going to put that right next to this. And we'll see what kind of other abstract we can come up with. All right, I'm going to pick up some more white. Some more of this pink and blue. And come over here and put in a bit of a shape. And I'm not cleaning my brush. I am just adding colors. And maybe I'll add even more blue here. A little bit of white. Oh, look at that color. That is gorgeous. And then I love that phthalo blue. It's really beautiful. I'm going to get a little bit of that magenta in here. Get a nice kind of deep color. And let's put it right here. Now we've got kind of a pinky blue gray. It's a little bit of a neutral, and I think I'll put that right over here. Maybe I'll lighten that up just a little bit. I'll just kind of mix it right here onto my paper. All right. What do we have here? Maybe like a nice dirty yellow. It's kind of a greenish yellow. Maybe I'll add a bit of white to it. That's pretty. And why don't we come right in here? How about some more yellow? Some more white. Brighten this up a lot. And have a nice sort of lime green coming down here. And I'm just playing with these different lines. What if we just add a little line of that green here? Yeah. And even more yellow. Maybe we add a little outline to this box. And to this little shape here. Let's go back to our blues. Now I'm just scraping the last bit of paint that I've got to fill in this bottom shape. And now we're going to have a nice base for more sketches and doodles or whatever we want to do. This is kind of a fun little abstract, all random shapes. And that was just enough paint to fill in the whole page. My palette is scraped clean. So I'm going to let everything dry and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back and we are all dry. I'm going to doodle on this and I'm going to doodle on this one. I love saving these papers. Boy, you can just paint on anything. It's actually pretty thick too for it being just, it was the protective sheet from the top of a watercolor block. So I'm going to take a second, give these a shake. That way they're all good to go. And I'm going to start with the white. And I'm just going to put some fun patterns on this and stuff and just kind of have some fun. maybe I'll kind of outline some. I think I might grab one of this blue too. It's just plain old blue. I'm going to go in some of these sort of mid-tone areas and add some little dots. Just as a fun little pattern in these clouds. And I'm going to kind of go on the medium shade blobs and just be pretty quick. Not really doing anything, you know, special, but just adding a little pop of color. And I might actually do that here, but maybe I'll make some of those little water kind of doodly shapes. Let me grab this white again and maybe make some little patterns down here. Now I wanted to break out this yellow again and go over this sort of sun area. And I got, this is a red color and it's like a glittery red. And it almost shows up as like a pinky orange. And I thought it might be fun to kind of add some little sun rays here. Because this will kind of be, I think, our focal area. So we can have some warm color and also kind of glittery, which is fun. And I might even outline the sun here. And maybe we can kind of have it coming out from behind the cloud like that. And that'll kind of be our little focal point. Now I kind of want to add just a little bit of tracing around this tree area. And I'm going to do that with the yellow, and I'm just going to sort of loosely follow the tops of some of these shapes, sort of the natural marks in the paint here. I'm just going to kind of highlight them with the yellow. Just like that. And then I might also go over some of these little hills. Now I'm going to get some of this dark green, and I think maybe for these darker areas I can put in a few little dashes just for fun. And it'll kind of give this a little bit of direction too. And it'll give us a little bit of texture in these little hilly spots, but not where it's like a ton of contrast. I don't really want to put it over those sort of lighter green areas, but I like that. Now what I might do is add just a little bit of dot texture to that sun. And I might grab this white and add a few dashes to this lighter yellow. This was such a fun page to make. I'm going to give you a close-up of this one. I think I'm going to call this good. Super fun and really cute. And let's start adding some marks here. All right, I'm going to start with black. I've got this medium tip painter's marker, and since our pink shapes kind of steal the show, I am going to give these a nice thick black outline. And I'm also going to follow this other paint mark here. It almost kind of looks like a little fun eggplant or something. I like that, and there's lots of contrast. I'm just going to clean up this edge a bit, maybe thicken it a tiny bit, and then I'm going to work on this one over here. Then what I might do is take this thinner blue and go around some of these other shapes. And actually, I don't know if I want to use that color blue. I might grab the navy blue, and this one's a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go over this. And I think I like that color better. So, yep, that's what we'll do. And it's just slightly different than the black, so it stands out a little bit differently. And I'm just going to go around all these sort of fun shapes. Okay, I'm going to grab this light purple. It kind of looks like this color here. I'm going to use it over the pink, and I am going to just kind of put in some fun little patterns here. I kind of like having the little flower and pattern over here. I'm going to do one here kind of coming out from the side, but a little bit of a different shape. And just have just little drawings, I think. All right. Maybe for this green one, we can turn this into kind of a fun little leaf. And so I grabbed this kind of dark green, and we'll make it kind of like a fun little botanical. And it's sort of behind whatever shape that is. And then last one. That looks pretty good. All right. I'm going to grab this turquoise and come in this area here, and I am going to put in some round shapes. This is going to be lower contrast. I'm going to do some variable sized filled in circles. I want this to be a little bit of a calmer part of the page since we have so many different patterns going on, but this will have something a little bit more subtle. That way it'll have something on it interesting, but got like some dried part of marker came out on here. But this is a very close color to this background color. But it adds just enough so that you can see something going on, especially when we get here into the darker blue. It really starts to pop out a little bit like that. Now I'm going to make sure I've got some kind of coming out from the side. That way it looks like kind of continues on behind everything. And I am varying the size of my circles. And I'll probably do that a little over here. This is kind of the background too. And it's that nice sort of neutral purpley gray color. And I think that the turquoise will look good on this too. I grabbed my ivory, and this green, this light green, and this green I'm going to make like a different type of leaf. So I'm going to have kind of an area here that I'm going to color in. And then I'm going to have some thinner lines coming out. But it's going to be a different style. Like this. Then I'm going to grab this fuchsia. Then I feel like these two kind of belong together, but they're so far apart, I'm just going to leave them as is. But maybe I could do something kind of like over here where we've got a bit of a flower inside the shape coming out. I might do that. So let's do that. All right, I grabbed my light pink. This is a very colorful doodle. I'm going to outline this to bring it out more and kind of have some more of these pinks in the rest of the painting. We have this fun little shape here. I'll just do a little doodle in it. Why not? Just like that. Okay. Now for this one, I think I'll put in just some little leaf patterns inside of kind of a leaf shape. And then I think lastly, I'm going to grab that ivory again and put it right in here. I'm just going to go around and kind of follow these paint marks. We've got doodles and patterns and everything, and that was a fun little project. So I hope you enjoyed both of these today, one with extra paint and one that we did on purpose. Both of them came out really cute, I think, and I had so much fun doing them. So hope you joined along, just got some paint on paper, did some doodling today, and had a good time. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating. Bye.